Hello students. So today we are going to start with the topic of merismatic tissues, different types of tissues, that is merismatic tissue, different types of plant tissues. So in the last class we discussed about the what is tissue and what are the types of tissues, what are the functions, what are the types of tissue, kind of tissues present in animal cells and in plant cells, different types of plant cells, plant tissues like merismatic tissue and permanent tissue. How merismatic tissue is further divided into three other types. Permanent tissue is also divided into three other types, and those are again further divided into other types. So merismatic tissues are found in the growing regions of the plant, like the tips of the root, stems and branches. They divide continuously and help in the growth of the plant. They are of three types. Apical merismatic tissue, these are present in the tips of the stems and the roots. They help in the growth of stems and roots. Then there is the lateral merismatic tissue. These are present in the sides of the stems and roots, and they help in the increase of the girth of the stems and the roots. Intercalary merismatic tissues. These are present at the base of the leaves and internodes and help in the growth of those parts. So the first is the merismatic tissue. Merismatic tissue is basically the tissue that helps in the that are basically present in the tips of the roots, stems and branches. So they basically divide and helps in the growth, as we have discussed in the earlier part also. So there are three types: apical merismatic, lateral merismatic and intercalary merismatic tissue. Apical merismatic tissue, these are present at the tips of the stems and the root, so it helps in the growth of the stems and the roots. Lateral merismatic tissue, it is basically present on the sides. The apical means at the top, so it is present at the tip, and lateral means on the sides, so it is present on the sides of the stems and the roots. This is how you can remember it. Intercalary merismatic tissue, it is basically present in the nodes at the base of the leaves and the internodes, and helps in the growth of those parts. Now next is the permanent tissues. Permanent tissues are formed from merismatic tissue. They do not divide and have permanent shape and size. They differentiate into different types of permanent tissues. Permanent tissues are of two types. They are simple permanent tissues and complex permanent tissues. So permanent tissues are basically formed from merismatic tissue. They do not divide and do not help in the and do not have a permanent shape and size. They differentiate into different types of permanent tissue. The permanent tissues are of two types, and they are simple and complex. Simple permanent tissues are made up of one type of cells. There are three types of simple permanent tissue, that is parenchyma, sclerenchyma and collenchyma. Parenchyma consists of the loosely packed thin walled cells having more intercellular spaces. So the intercellular spaces is more. If you look at the picture diagram below, the parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma, if you look at it on parenchyma, the spaces, the intercellular, the gap between two cellular cells is more as compared to collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Some parenchyma cells in leaves contain chloroplast and prepares food by photosynthesis. Some parenchyma cells have large air cavities which help them the plant to float on water. Some parenchyma cells of the roots and stem store water and minerals. So the parenchyma, it consists of loosely packed thin wall cells. And the gap between the two cells is higher, more as compared to the collenchyma and sclerenchyma. And it also is possible that in some leaves, the parenchyma of the leaves have chloroplast in them, which helps in the photosynthesis. Also, it has some plants also have this capacity to store water and minerals, and also have some plants have the large air cavities that helps them float in water. So all these features are present in the plants in parenchyma. Collenchyma, it consists of elongated cells having less intercellular spaces and thicker at the corners. They gives flexibility and allows easy bending of different parts like the stem, leaf, etc. They also give mechanical support to the plant. So it is basically the elongated cells having less intercellular spaces and thicker at the corners. They give the flexibility and allows easy bending of the different parts like stem, leaf, etc. They also give mechanical support to the plant. Sclerenchyma, it consists of long, narrow, dead thick wall cells, and the cell wall contains linen, a chemical substance which act like cement and hardens them, and it gives strength and hardness to the plant parts. So we discussed about collenchyma, parenchyma and sclerenchyma. Now the complex permanent tissues. And the complex permanent tissues, also we'll discuss a few characteristics: permanent fundamental tissue and simple tissues composed of a single type of cell. In the parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma, the characteristics and the functions. The characteristics of parenchyma is unspecialized cells with thin primary walls, and collenchyma elongated cells with uneven primary walls living at maturity. Sclerenchyma elongated with very thick secondary walls dead at maturity. And function of parenchyma is photosynthesis, secretion and storage. And collenchyma support in leaves and stem, and sclerenchyma is just support in mechanical strength. Complex permanent tissues. These are made up of more than one type of cells, and there are two types of complex tissues, that is xylem and phloem. And xylem consists of, and they are also known as vascular or conducting tissues. So xylem consists of the tracheids, vessels, xylem parenchyma and xylem fibers. The tracheids and vessels helps to transport the water and minerals from roots to all parts of the plant, and xylem parenchyma stores food and fibers, helps in the support. And phloem consists of sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem parenchyma and phloem fibers. And the sieve tubes and the companion cells transports foods from leaves of all parts of the plant, leaves to all other parts of the plant. And the phloem parenchyma stores food and fibers, helps in support. So complex parenchyma is basically divided into two parts, has two kinds, that is xylem and phloem. And xylem consists of organs like tracheids, vessels, xylem parenchyma and xylem fibers. The tracheids and the vessels, it helps in the transport of water and minerals from the roots to other parts of the plant, and xylem parenchyma stores food and fibers, and it helps in support. And phloem. Phloem, it consists of the sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem parenchyma and phloem fibers. So these are the various parts of the phloem. And the sieve tubes and the companion cells, it helps in the transport of food from roots to other parts of the plant. So xylem helps in the transport of water and minerals, and phloem helps in the transport of food. So the first two organs, that is in xylem, that is tracheids and the vessels, it helps in that function, and in phloem the sieve tubes and the companion cells helps in that function. And the phloem parenchyma stores food, in that xylem parenchyma stores food, and xylem fibers give support, and here the phloem fibers helps in support. So this was all about the plant tissues. So in the next class we'll start with animal tissues.